So we know the first planetary expansion of Lord Krishna is Lord Balarama. He's also known as Shesha, for he supports the entire universe. And his eternal mother, is Rohini. So the appearance of Lord Balarama is very interesting. He first manifested himself in the womb of Devaki as her 7th pregnancy. And at that time, Krishna ordered Yogamaya. Yogamaya is that personality who manages the affairs of the spiritual world, to transfer Balarama from the room of Devaki to the room of Rohini, who is Balarama's eternal mother. So we know Rohini is another wife of Vasudeva, who was being kept under the care of Nanda Maharaj, while Vasudeva and Devaki were being imprisoned by Kamsa at that time. So Krishna then informed Yogamaya that he would appear as the 8th pregnancy of Devaki, and she will appear as a daughter of Mother Yasoda. And then Lord Krishna, speaking to Yogamaya at this time, he told her that this son of Rohini, Balarama, will also be celebrated as Shankashan, because he was sent from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. He will also be called Rama, because of his ability to please all the inhabitants of Gokul. And he will also be known as Balabhadra, because of his great strength. And he'll also be known as Rohini Nandana, the son of Rohini. And also we know sometimes, especially in Vrindavan, we see that sometimes Balarama is called Dauji. Dauji means the elder brother who cares and protects his younger brother. And we know Balarama's younger brother is Krishna. So whenever and wherever Krishna appears, we see Balarama, he also appears as Krishna's brother. Sometimes he comes as his elder brother, sometimes as his younger brother. In this way, in all of Krishna's transcendental incarnations, Lord Balarama is always present, serving Krishna in different forms. In Ram Leela, he served Lord Ramachandra as his younger brother Lakshmana. In Kali Yuga, Balarama appears in the Sankirtan, spreads the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya as Lord Nityananda. So Balarama, he is the very first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And from him we see all other incarnations, such as Lord Narayan and the different Vishnu expansions which are in charge of the creational duties, all coming from Balarama. So he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, actually. He is qualitatively and quantitatively equal to Krishna. Actually, it is said, the only difference really between Krishna and Balarama is their bodily hue of Krishna is dark, and that of Balarama is fair. But also that we see they have different personalities, but they are the Supreme Personality of both, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord. But we see that Balarama, he always takes the position of being the servant of Krishna. And this is very interesting, because we should always remember that Krishna, also Lord Chaitanya, they're the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, the fountainhead of all incarnations and expansions. The Supreme Eternal Master of one and all, Krishna, Lord Chaitanya. And this actually means that even personalities like Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Narayan, even Lord Balarama himself, in that sense they're all subordinates to Krishna. They all recognize the ultimate supremacy of Krishna as the original fountainhead of all incarnations, the original supreme Lord of all lords. And thus, such personalities are described as servitor Godheads, because they take that subservient role to Krishna, who is the original source of all incarnations. So it is said, in their pastimes, Krishna is the chief hero and Balaram provides additional help. And also we see Sri Balaram is also Krishna's dearest friend, an object of his love and respect. We see that in their pastimes. Sometimes Balaram would get tired from playing and he would lie down on the lap of one of the cowherd boys. And Krishna would personally come and massage Balaram's lotus feet and fan him. Such was a sweet, loving reciprocation between Krishna and Balaram. But usually we see it was Balaram who was always tasting the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna in so many different ways. And he is just constantly serving Krishna in every respect. Actually, it is said that Balaram actually serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas, the mellows, from Santa to Madhurya Leela. In Santa Ras, Santa Ras is where the awe and reverence, the mood of awe and reverence. In Santa Ras, Balaram fulfills Krishna's desire for blissful transcendental pastimes by expanding himself as the actual holy Dham of Vrindavan. And also, not only does he expand himself as Raj Mandala, but all of Krishna's personal possessions, such as his crown, Krishna's bed, Krishna's clothing, his throne, his ornaments, and every other object that Krishna utilizes for his pastimes and enjoyment are all actually said to be direct expansions of Lord Balaram. In Sankhya Ras, as a friend, Balaram serves Krishna as his cowherd friend and elder brother. And sometimes, as I said, Balaram accepts service from Krishna after defeating him in a wrestling match. But generally, that friendship is always mixed with servitude and parental affection. Sometimes Balaram would instruct or chastise Krishna as his elder brother. In Vatsalya Ras, love as a parent, Balaram sometimes he protects Krishna. Or sometimes he chastises him as his elder brother. So, even though Balaram knows the supermost power of Krishna, he knows he's undefeatable. Still, out of love for him, Balaram never leaves Krishna alone in the forest, even for a moment. He's always there to protect his younger brother. In Madhurya Ras, in the mood of a lover, actually Balaram expands himself as Ananga Manjari. He was actually Srimati Radharani's younger sister. And she is just exquisitely beautiful like Radharani. And she wears beautiful clothing the colour of blue lotus flowers. So Balaram, he's very, very powerful like Krishna. Actually, he's unlimitedly powerful. Actually, once when he was insulted by the Kauravas, Balarama, he took his plough and he began to drag the whole city of Hastinapur into the Ganges. The whole city. Of course, this completely terrified the Kauravas, and they all came running out of the city, and they were falling down at Balaram's feet, surrendering themselves, begging for his mercy and forgiveness for their offences. So Balaram, of course, there's many occasions when Balaram exhibited his power and also, you could say, his intolerance of offences. You know, just like the story when Krishna's son, Pradyumna, he was said to be an incarnation of Cupid. You know, actually Rukmini, she chose, at the marriage ceremony of Pradyumna, you know, which is Krishna's son, Rukmini's daughter was given to him as his wife. Because, you know, Rukmini, he was defeated by Krishna, and Krishna kidnapped his sister Rukmini on the chariot. He drove off, and so he was not very good terms with Krishna. He considered Krishna his enemy, but to please his sister, he allowed his daughter to marry, you know, Krishna's son, Pradyumna. And at that wedding ceremony, just after the wedding ceremony, all the kings there, they were encouraging Rukmini to challenge Balaram in a chess match. And they were saying, you know, this Balaram, he's not very good at chess. Actually, he's just a cowherd boy. But, so they challenged Balaram, Balaram accepted, and the first game, Rukmini won. But they continuously had games, and Balaram kept putting up the wager. The second game, Balaram won. But Rukmini was adamant that actually Balaram had lost. In this way, he was trying to cheat Balarama. Balaram wasn't very happy. He kept putting up the wager, and eventually, and again, Balaram won. But Rukmini kept trying to cheat Balaram, saying actually he had lost, that he in fact had won. And finally, it became, and it was, as this was going on, all the kings in the assembly were laughing at Balaram, and this king of Kalinga, he was laughing at Balaram, showing his teeth, and then they started making fun of Krishna and Balaram, saying he's just cowherd boys, you know, what do they know about chess? Chess is for the real Kshatriyas, you know, it's not for these inferior cow. In this way, they started insulting and making fun of Krishna and Balaram. So Balaram, he wasn't very happy. He got quite angry. He just picked up his club and he just hit Rukmini in the head and killed him. And then the king of Kalinga, he was trying to run away. And on his 10th step, Balaram just got his club and just knocked out all his teeth, you know, because he was showing his teeth, laughing at Krishna and Balaram. And then Balaram, all those other kings and princes that were laughing and making fun of Krishna and Balaram, with his club he just broke all their arms and legs and was hitting them on the head, and it was a pretty gory situation. It wasn't very pleasant. And Balaram, he didn't really tolerate injustices. So Balaram is very powerful. He's also very beautiful, full of the youthful lust, that has a fair complexion, and is said the colour of crystal or a white autumn cloud. He wears blue garments, splendid jewellery, beautiful garlands, tilak made of musk, and he has handsome, thick black hair, tied in a graceful slip knot at the top of his head. And so Krishna and Balaram, by their personal spiritual energy, they actually manifested themselves in the beginning and just acted like small boys. talking in childhood language. And because the acharyas, they explain, that Krishna takes these childhood forms, and just to please the inhabitants of Vrindavan who have that mood, that parental mood towards the Supreme Lord. And they used to give such great pleasure to all the inhabitants of Raj. At a very young age, Krishna and Balaram were invited by the priests to become qualified Vatsabalas. Because Mother Yasoda, she thought it was very dangerous that sometimes Krishna and Balaram would go out with Nanda Maharaj herding the cows when they were young boys. And Mother Yasoda thought this is too dangerous out there for young boys to go out there. So they decided that these Krishna and Balaram should take care of the calves in the immediate vicinity of the Vrindavan village. So they were initiated by the Brahmana priests to become qualified caretakers of the calves. And they were given ropes and sticks and flutes and horns. And when they began to mature around the age of 6 years old, they became gopals, qualified cowherd boys. They had a special initiation. And they took responsibility for looking after Maharaj Nanda's 900,000 cows. So Balaram, he carries a plough. We know that. We see that here on the altar. He carries the plough, which represents agriculture. And Krishna, he carries a flute for calling the cows. Thus, in one sense, the two brothers, they represent cow protection and agriculture. But also, they say that Krishna's flute actually represents how he attracts and charms all living entities towards his devotional service. And Balaram, who carries the plough, Balaram is said to be the original guru. He ploughs the heart, just like we plough the ground, preparing it to plant the seed. So Balaram, he comes as the guru. And with transcendental knowledge, he removes all the obstacles and illusions and false ego and pride. And he makes the heart soft and prepares it for the bhakti lata kripa, the seed of devotion to be planted in the heart. So each day, the boys, they would go out milking the cows, laughing and joking. Then after milking the cows, Krishna and Balaram would return home and they'd bathe, dress. And then along with the cowherd boys, they would go to Nanda Maharaj's royal dining hall. And they would enjoy this huge feast cooked by Srimati Radharani. And Krishna and Balaram would sit in the middle and all the cowherd boys surround them. And they'd enjoy this beautiful breakfast. Then after breakfast, Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys, they would enter the forest, herding the cows, taking them out to graze in the pasturing grounds around New Govardhana. And thus they would enjoy this beautiful, soothing atmosphere of Vrindavan, playing their flutes and bugles, dancing and singing and wrestling and swimming in rivers and lakes and joking and playing games, eating forest fruits and snacks. And, the gopis of Vrindavan, they would sing out that the perfection of the eyes is to see Krishna and Balaram entering the forest, playing their flutes, tending the cows. So there's one pastime, when Krishna and Balaram were very young, I think like 4 or 5 years old. One day Balaram, he asked his younger brother Krishna, he said, "Krishna, can I wear your peacock feather and play your flute just for one day?" So Krishna, who dearly loves his brother, his elder brother, he agreed. He gave his peacock feather to Balaram, placed it in his crown, gave his flute to Balaram. Then after warmly embracing Balaram laughing happily, he ran away, playing Krishna's flute, wearing his peacock feather. Meanwhile, in Mathura, what happened is the wicked King Kamsa, he was about to send Keshi, the horse demon, to Vrindavan to find Krishna and kill him. So the Keshi demon, the horse demon, he asked King Kamsa, how will I recognize Krishna? I've never seen Krishna. And Kamsa told him, it's very easy. Krishna would be the only person who wears a peacock feather and plays a flute. So while Balarama was fully enjoying his pastime of being Krishna for a day, this fierce horse demon Keshi, he just stormed into Vrindavan, and seeing Balarama wearing the peacock feather and playing the flute, he roared up to him and gave a mighty kick in the chest. It actually is said that that kick was so severe it could have killed a fully grown elephant. And this kick, it just knocked the wind out of little Balarama, sent him tumbling, knocking down trees and bushes. And then, of course, Keshi just galloped away. He thought he'd killed Krishna. Little Balarama, he just picked himself up. He began to cry. You know, his chest hurt. He was short breath. He was hungry and tired. He was sore all over from tumbling so far. So when he reached home, he immediately went to Krishna. And he gave him his flute and his peacock, and he told Krishna that he never wanted to wear them again. And he told Krishna what had happened. Then little Balarama, he went to his mother Rohini and fell asleep in her arms. And meanwhile, Krishna, he put his peacock feather back in his crown, put his flute back in his belt, and then he went out and found that Keshi horse demon and he killed him effortlessly. So this demoniac King Kamsa, he'd heard this omen from the heavens, proclaiming that Krishna would one day kill him. He was sending so many demoniac personalities to find Krishna and kill him, just like this Keshi demon. And it is said, there's so many demons were coming that Krishna would daily kill 2 or 3 demons before lunch. And of course, these killings were simply pleasure excursions for Krishna that he performs for the pleasure of his devotees and protection of his devotees. But Lord Balarama also killed many very powerful demons, such as Dhanukasura, Palambasura. That Palambasura, he came there disguised as a cowherd boy. But Krishna and Balarama, by their omnipotence, could see that this is actually a demon in disguise. And although they were thinking about how to kill him, they pretended to be his friend. And Krishna devised this game where there was a competition, a wrestling competition. And the loser had to carry the winner on his shoulders. So this Palambasura, disguised as a cowherd boy, he didn't want to fight Krishna. He thought Krishna might be a difficult match for him. So he picked Balarama. Balarama defeated him. So he had to carry Balarama on his shoulders. But when Balarama hopped on his shoulders, what did he do? He tried to run away with Balarama to kill him. But Balarama became so heavy, like a big mountain. And then suddenly the demon manifests his demoniac form. And Balarama just punched him in the head. He killed him. And of course, the Dhanukasura, one day Krishna and Balarama were enjoying their pastimes in Vrindavan forest along with the cowherd boys. So as Krishna and Balarama lay on the grass beneath the shade of the trees, their friends happily massaging their lotus feet and legs. It is said that at that time, this gentle breeze came that was carrying the aroma of newly ripened tulip fruits. Thus the cowherd boys, they decided to eat those fruits. But the boys knew that that Talavana forest was carefully guarded by this Dhanukasura, this very powerful ass demon. Therefore no one dared enter that forest. But then the cowherd boys began to address Krishna and Balarama. They said, firstly they glorified them as great heroes who can kill many demons effortlessly. That this Dhanukasura could easily be subdued by them. Upon hearing this, Krishna and Balarama went into the forest with the cowherd boys. Then Balarama, with his mighty strength of an elephant, he started shaking the trees, causing all the ripened fruits to fall, making this tumultuous sound. Suddenly the Dhanukasura, he was resting nearby with his ass friends, relatives, suddenly jumped up and angrily he rushed through the forest. And angrily he charged towards Balarama. Then with great speed, he whirled around and started kicking Balarama with his hind legs, kicking Balarama's chest, while roaring loudly in anger. However, Balarama was unaffected by these kicks, and suddenly, without warning, he caught hold of the ass's hind legs, and he began whirling him around his head. And with such power that the demon just gave up his life instantly. And then Balarama hurled that ass demon high up into the highest palm trees. And of course then suddenly all Dhanuka's associates came out, and Krishna and Balarama with great force. Each of them, they caught hold of their hind legs and killed them, swirled them around their heads and threw them into the trees. Actually, these demons killed by Krishna and Balarama, it is said that they represent anarthas or impurities in our heart that prevent us from attaining pure love for Krishna. You know, Lord Balarama, it is said that he is Guru Tattva. Now, Guru Tattva means he is the original sum total of all gurus. That means that all gurus are actually representatives of Lord Balarama. It means, you know, that a bona fide spiritual master, he is a representative of his spiritual master. And that spiritual master is a representative of his bona fide spiritual master. And this way, if you go up and up and up and back in history, you'll come to the original Guru or spiritual master, which is Lord Balarama or Lord Jishananda. So Lord Balarama, he is the mercy incarnation of the Lord, manifested as a spiritual master, the saviour of the sincere devotees. And by his guidance, he lays the foundation in our spiritual lives so we can easily approach the lotus feet of Krishna and enter into his transcendental pastimes. And Balarama is so merciful, he doesn't accept any offences. He is simply just a kind friend of all living entities. You know, Lord Balarama, he's so merciful. And we know that he especially showed us by his example the supreme humility, compassion, and mercy of the Supreme Lord when he appeared as Lord Nityananda. You know, he is the unparalleled supreme object of love for all the residents of the spiritual world, so transcendently perfect. Yet that same Lord Balarama appeared as Lord Nityananda, was falling at the feet of the lowest, most fallen, wretched persons like Jagai and Madai, begging them to accept the holy name and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. With tears of compassion, he was falling down at their feet, begging them to accept the treasure of love of God, to accept the means out of suffering and become supremely happy. So, it is said, just like I said, these demons, they represent the anatas in our heart. So there is, you could say, a Dhanukasura ass living in our hearts, not all of us. And it is the tendency to want to be the controller, to think that this is mine to enjoy, to think ourselves independent, supreme controllers, enjoyers and proprietors of this world. This is the Dhanukasura ass demon in our heart. So Balarama as Guru, he comes and he kills this ass-like quality in our hearts by transcendental instructions. So Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, just by hearing these wonderful pastimes of Krishna and Balaram, all the inauspicious things in our heart are completely destroyed. And we develop great attachment for the Supreme Lord, which leads to pure love of the Supreme Lord. When Krishna and Balaram left Vrindavan to enact their Mathura and Dwarka Leelas, they were separated from the inhabitants of Vrindavan for 100 years. And they were feeling so much, the inhabitants of Vrindavan were feeling these great pangs of separation from Krishna and Balaram. So after living in Dwarka for some time, Lord Balaram, he became anxious to see his mother and father. So he journeyed to Vrindavan, and arriving, he saw everyone was just so happy to see him. And they began to express to him their intense feelings of separation from him and Krishna. Especially the gopis, they were just crying uncontrollably. So Balaram, he stayed there in Vrindavan for 2 months and pacified them all. And he would narrate beautiful stories about Krishna and chant Krishna's name. And actually it is said that, at one time at Krishna Kund, Balaram he began describing the wonderful pastimes and glories of Krishna, chanting Krishna's name to the gopis who are suffering this intense separation from Krishna. And at that time, Balaram, he became so absorbed in glorifying Krishna that his complexion changed from crystal white to dark blue, like Krishna. And of course, during his stay in Vrindavan, Balaram enjoyed the conjugal pastime with his own gopis, and he also performed the rasa dance by the Jamuna in the full moonlight. Srila Prabhupada explains, anyone who hears and remembers the glories and pastimes of Lord Balaram will certainly become a great devotee of the Lord, and his life will become successful in all respects. So we should all pray to Balaram, for spiritual strength, to overcome all the obstacles in our spiritual life, in our devotional service to Krishna and the Guru and the Vaishnavas. Actually, it is said that on these auspicious appearance days in our Vaishnava culture, that whoever's birthday it is, and we know today is Lord Balaram's birthday, on that particular day, the Lord is just pouring out his mercy. His mercy is just magnified. He's just pouring out his blessings and mercy. And therefore, in our Vaishnava tradition, the devotees, they all go before that personality whose appearance day it is, and they pray. They pray before today we should be coming before Balarama and just pouring out our heart and just praying for his mercy, that he can bless us with spiritual strength, overcome all our anatas and shortcomings, and how we can actually develop a very strong desire to want to serve Krishna and surrender to Krishna and develop love for Krishna in our heart. Jai Balaram Jayanti Ki. Here stay Lord Balaram Ki. Jai. Okay, so just a little. We're going to have the swing ceremony today. It's going to start at 9:30. So then followed by the Abhishek. So everyone can come. I think we're going to do the swing ceremony out there on the trees, I think. Under the Kadamba tree. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki.